Defense identified a few, but the people had none. Defense attorney Goldstein begins with his first challenge. Jury 42 works with this in the hospital emergency room. Good, so they have knowledge of what they're doing. And had seen the Leah Remini documentary. So, Anson pushes back. Goldstein then suggests they talk about the Remini documentary. She is saying that any juror who has seen it will not give Masterson a fair trial. She goes through a list of jurors who had mentioned a documentary or docu-series, which means it is something newsworthy rather than a reality show. Even though it is not a reality show, it is actual documentary. Two of the women in this case were interviewed on the show. One was in the finale episode. The jurors' memories may be triggered of seeing these victims in the show. Those docu-series went extensively into these allegations. Goldstein remembers seeing inflammatory allegations like this of getting a pet. The juror memories may be triggered if they see these victims in the court. Even if these jurors wish to be fair and impartial, they can't be. She reads off a long list of juror numbers she wants removed because they admitted to seeing a documentary. Wow. Judge Almeida then went in. Let me ask you this. When we have a minority jury and they have been exposed to shows of a planting of evidence or it has happened to their family members, but they say they can be fair, is that challengeable? Because according to our new rules, that is not challengeable. The law has changed. It specifically says you take people at face value when they say they can be fair. Lawyer, if the alleged victims have been on the show, let me stop you there. Numerous jurors say they saw the Leah Remini show, but that was a series. The finale was a single episode. When they say they saw the show, they didn't necessarily see the one with the women. We actually don't know. That's a Pandora's box from a defense perspective. They literally want to get this out of court, don't they? So much. Anson responds for the people. Two women who have alleged in the Remini show, only one is a charged case in this trial. To make speculative arguments by how the jurors might react is improper to use for a challenge. Cohen, we have previously submitted an extensive questionnaire that would have touched on the issues, which did not get into this court. I thought the court did a very good job stopping jurors when they began to get into their thoughts about Scientology. One person the court brought in for a sidebar when he expressed very strong feelings about it. We have previously asked if we could do sidebars with jurors. I didn't say we couldn't do sidebars. I said if the jurors wanted to do sidebars, they could. I said I don't like to do sidebars during the trial. You know what, Judge Almeida, she's doing such a great job so far. Just by little things I've seen. She's like, no, being fair, if this happens, this happens. It's been really good. We've got more to go through as well. Cohen, we had asked that any questions dealing with Scientology be dealt with separately. Given the amount of jurors that we have, and given what one brought up that we only have the initial on some witnesses, we don't know if they've seen them before. We don't know what part of the docuseries they saw. We don't know what seeing the women will make them recall. Judge Almeida, you still haven't asked the question. What about minority juror? Has strong feelings but say they can be fair, and we take that person? How is that different in this case? The difference is that if a police officer being accused of this was in the documentary they saw, I can't imagine that not being a reason for cause. Okay, thank you. Now she asks the defense to go quickly through its list. Goldstein. So, these are the ones we got now. These are the jurors who they don't want on the thing, alright? Juror 49, wife was a victim, and he says Scientology is a cult. He's not going to be able to give Masterson a fair trial. Shows bias that has no place in this trial. Juror 33, prior experience of this. Jury 132, person does assessment of this at clinics. I will try to be fair, she said, not I can be fair. Juror 138, when asked by Mr. Cohen with an analogy of sand, he expressed an opinion if someone is willing to take the stand to testify to this, there's probably sand there. That violates the presumption of innocence. People's response. So, Mr. Anson, which is the trial defense, the People's Defense one. Juror 49 was asked further questions and said he could be fair and there was no sand in the jars. Juror 103, she could be fair and impartial, that she didn't know any police officers. Juror 132, when she said she would try to be fair, no further questions were asked. Juror 138, Anson says it was a little confusing what he was saying, sand in the jar. Now, Judge Almeida, about the people who have been seeing these documentaries but said they could be fair, she will not remove them. It's speculative that the show would have any influence on them and whether they had seen the episode that featured one of the alleged victims in this case. All of them said they knew very little of Scientology, and it wouldn't influence them. In addition, Code of Civil Procedure was modified to find specific reasons to excuse jurors. She explains that the law was specifically changed to make it invalid to remove jurors for previous poor experiences or attitudes towards law enforcement, as long as they say they can be impartial, and Judge Almeida finds a parallel here. Great. With that said, the group of viewers of Scientology material is not a constitutionally protected group, so you can use, she cites another way the defense could remove them. She said challenges are denied, but 103 and 132 are being excused. She sends the clerks out to get the jurors. Now it goes on here, while they wait, she explains how she will not generally object on her own, except when it comes to ask and answer in order to keep things going along. So, jurors come in. Judge Almeida thanks them for their service. I want you to know how much your presence here is appreciated. There is a little like musical chairs. Be sure to pick up your belongings when you are asked to move. If you are asked to leave, please give Mr. Psyche your yellow badge. We will start with preemptory challenges for the people in the first 12 seats. People first, Mueller says he would like to thank and excuse Juror 1. Juror 24 moves into that seat, but defense removes her. And now it's just going on about who's in and who's not. People thinking about it and thinking, this is when I always hear the Jeopardy tune going through my head. People accept the panel. Judge Almeida, will the 12 of you please stand? Sworn in. So, these are the ones they got. So we're not quite done. Judge Almeida says how many have performed in theatre. Now we have to pick our alternates. I liken alternates to an understudy in a play. Ask to see the jurors at sidebar. There are 7 men, 5 women on the jury. Lawyers come back in. So jurors 41, 42, 44, 49, 54, 57, and 58 are seated for alternates. People accept alternates. Defense removes 41, replaced by 62. And they just removing them and everything else. Oh my God, look at it. 62 replaced 41. 62 comes in, but is removed. Then you get 42 removed. Ugh. It's just mind-blowing how this can be done. Judge Almeida thanks the rest for their participation, and we are on a break.